My name is Chris Garofalo. I am the admissions advisor with Divine Mercy University, and I'm here with the program director, Maria Brackett. She's joining us this evening. Hello, Maria.
Hi, nice to be here. I'd like to say nice to see you all, but can't do that. But it's nice to be here.
And as we proceed with this webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the Q&A. You can ask questions publicly about the program. If you have more of a private question, you could directly message me and I could answer that anonymously. And we also have a poll feature. So this is our first time trying this, but essentially the poll has been launched now. So there are 3 questions. So if you know the answers, by all means, vote or use the poll to cast your choices. But we will begin. I'm now going to share my screen, and we're going to go through the SDC program this evening. And this is regarding the SDC certificate here at DMU. We are based in Sterling, Virginia. And just 4 points or 4 questions to consider tonight. Are you called to accompany others in their walk with Christ as a spiritual director? Here are 4 questions that these are quite consistent. These tie into the program. Maria, do you want to go through these briefly?
Thanks so much, Chris. So these are questions that we came up here at the program just to kind of help you to think about these things, because these might be some of the signs or ways that you can see that the Lord might be calling you to become a spiritual director. If you got the desire to want to deepen in your own relationship with the Lord, if you're moved to accompany others, it can happen that you already are in a situation of like leading a Bible study or helping out at your church or your parish, and maybe in some type of leadership role that is giving you a certain type of spiritual leadership, and people are coming to you and asking you questions. So, how is that experience for you? Is it moving you to want to continue doing that? Do you find yourself that that when you are when you're able to kind of get in contact with God, it just helps you and strengthens you to go back beyond your fears, and that sharing with people and listening to people's walk with the Lord really helps you and strengthens you. It almost gives you life, you could say. Or have you maybe had a great spiritual director in your life, and or maybe a few of them, and you just have been so helped by them that you really feel like you also want to learn how to do this, or at least you want to spend some time looking into it, and that's why we're here tonight. And even the program itself has that opportunity that you could actually start it and go through a couple courses and be discerning along the way if this is what the Lord's asking you to do. So I hope that's a good summary of those questions, Chris.
Absolutely, Maria. And for those who are just joining us, welcome. And there is a Q&A feature. So as we go through the slides, if you have a question for myself or Maria, she's the program director, feel free to ask. And as we proceed with the screen sharing, this is always so I hope we do not have there we are. And this is a quote from Pope Benedict XVI.
Yeah, it's a great quote from Pope Benedict, and he has a few others also about spiritual direction. And one that I love about lay people being spiritual directors and how they're called to be spiritual directors along with priests and religious and people dedicated to like pastors or ministers. In this quote, Pope Benedict, I'm not going to read it from beginning to end, but it just talks about the tradition of spiritual direction in the church and the sense that it has for those people that really want to walk more closely with Christ, and how they need to be accompanied by someone that is trained and that does know theology, has a certain sense of the human person, right? Um, we'd like to say that we could guide ourselves, right? And we know that the Lord walks in front of us and always leads us, but just to have someone that you can talk to help you not to get too subjective, or just to kind of work through questions that you might have. It's a real help. So our program, we designed it. We started designing our program in 2016, and we launched it in January of 2019. And it really, we always thought of it having these kind of three prongs there, that it gives you the knowledge that you need, that it also gives you those human interaction skills or interpersonal skills of how to build this relationship and to carry on a relationship of spiritual direction. And it also gives you the supervision tools throughout the program. As soon as you start seeing people for spiritual direction, you are in group supervision with other people in the program, and a faculty member leads the supervision sessions. So you learn as you go along. So there's different times and different ways that you're learning, but supervision is a huge part of that. And we really, as all the programs here at Divine Mercy University, they're true to the magisterium of the Catholic Church and very solid in their theology and their philosophy. And also they have this transformational aspect. Every program here at Divine Mercy University has this. Whereas you are studying it to serve other people, you are also growing yourself. And because this is so important, and we'd like to think that our program helps you to help your heart and your mind become more like that of Jesus Christ, which is kind of our lifelong journey.
And Maria, a common question I receive, the supervision tools, is that more of the second half of the program? It is a 2-year program. Is that specifically the residencies as well as the practicum?
So the supervision tools, the group supervision starts in the fifth, right after the second residency, which is in the 5th course, right? But even from the first residency, which is at the end of the 3rd course, you're in role play sessions with faculty members, and they're giving you feedback. And that really starts in 300, even though in the residency we have these in-person role plays. In 300, there are different moments where you have to use skills, the listening skills, the basic listening skills, and do some videos and send them in to your instructor so they can critique them, so that you can keep on learning better how to use those skills. And those listening skills really, the training in them really culminates in that first residency. And then we go on to weaving more aspects of the spiritual life and spiritual knowledge until you're ready in the 5th course to start seeing people in the practicum, which a practicum is a requirement. If you saw it on the website, we have a 60-hour practicum requirement. And that 60 hours is broken into 48 hours of seeing people in spiritual direction and 12 hours of supervision, which you get in the course itself.
Mm-hmm. That's very good to know, especially for those who are interested. That's a common question I receive as an admissions advisor.
Thanks. Yeah, I know it's an interesting part of the program. Not all spiritual direction programs have that practicum, and not all help you to get involved in group supervision or some type of supervision. They might have faculty critiquing you in role play or things like that. But the supervision element, we just feel it's so important for you to learn how to do it as you're learning and to have it. And so that when you go out, you really have had that experience and you'll continue seeking it because it is needed. I'm a spiritual director and I have supervision, and I've been a spiritual director for a while, but you always need to have those people to consult or to talk about just what's going on in you as you give spiritual direction.
Mm-hmm. And this is sort of the how slide, and number 3 is supervision again, but
Yeah,
using
okay. So we probably exhausted that a little bit, but the so how do we accomplish those goals of the program, or how do we bring that about? Well, really it's through giving you the knowledge that's needed to be a spiritual director, right? Which is basically the theological side to understand the development of the spiritual life, and what in general, a general understanding of what a person's relationship looks like with God throughout their lifespan. Of course, there's many, as Pope Benedict also says, there's as many ways to God as there are people. Um, so what we propose is a general outline there of theology, also weaving together philosophy, basic psychology, because you have to understand yourself and the person in front of you that you're giving spiritual direction to. So we really try to help you to understand what the human person looks like throughout their whole lifespan. And then the practice of the interpersonal skills, the listening, empathy, professional body language, how to set up a session, how to begin a spiritual direction relationship, how to end a spiritual direction relationship, um, how to refer someone, recognize and refer when you see that there might be someone that maybe needs the help of a different type of expert than a spiritual director, and then the supervision that we already spoke about.
yes, and just received a question. Anonymous, will you provide the slides and the link to the recording? Yes, this recording will be uploaded to Divine Mercy's YouTube channel, probably sometime next week. So you can find previous webinars as well on YouTube. Divine Mercy University, we have a channel. And the course cost, that information is coming. So as we proceed, I'm pretty sure the course cost will come up later. But very good question.
So just to add on to that, so we do webinars. We do informational webinars about the program itself a few times during the year. And as Chris says, those are on the Divine Mercy University channel, YouTube channel. And there's actually a playlist that puts all the webinars that we've done about the spiritual direction program, or that we've done about spiritual direction in general. We try to do one webinar a month just about spiritual direction and other themes to kind of help spiritual directors that are out there to get continued education, or just to keep the conversation going, right? And so those are on the Divine Mercy University website, YouTube, and there's this playlist that's called the SDC playlist, and that's where all those webinars would be. We also, if you've been to our website, which is on the Divine Mercy website, where one of the programs listed there, if you go there, you'll see that one of the tabs we have on our page are for blogs. So we've got probably about 30 blogs up there that talk about different themes that have to do with spiritual direction and spiritual growth. So it's also a great resource if you're looking to understand more about spiritual direction.
And it's divinemercy.edu. If you do dmu.edu, I think you get to Des Moines University. So keep in mind, to those watching, divinemercy.edu. That's our URL.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome. And what is spiritual direction accompaniment?
Yeah, well, this word accompaniment, Pope Francis really is the one that has brought it to everyone's forefront. It's been used probably over the last 25 years, but he really has made it much more known. And I like to, use it here because we're talking about walking with someone in their relationship with the Lord. I think that the image of the disciples on the road to Emmaus, two disciples walking together, talking and everything, and then the Lord comes along, right? But that's really what this type of accompaniment is. It's about walking with someone, understanding the reality that they're living, that reality that they're living within this world, right, in their situation, and also what's happening in their interior, and them sharing it with you to just to be able to help them to become more aware of where the Lord is and what may be going on in their own life, and where the Lord may be calling them. Discernment of course, is always that big part of this accompaniment. Discerning where the Lord is, that capacity to hear with our hearts.
Mhm. So now we have a definition, a very, a papal definition, if you will, of spiritual direction and what goes along with it. Let's proceed. There we are.
Well, so this is a quote taken from Evangelium Gaudium, which is an apostolic exhortation that Pope Francis put out in 2013, which just talks about, the English translation of that title is The Joy of the Gospel. And it's a really beautiful apostolic exhortation because it just talks about the joy of the gospel and the joy that it gives each person, and then how that joy moves us to go out. And that's where he talks about going out to the peripheries. That's one of the first places that he mentioned that. And so in 170, he says this: although it sounds obvious, spiritual accompaniment must lead others ever closer to God, in whom we attain true freedom. To accompany them would be counterproductive if it became a sort of therapy, supporting their self-absorption, and ceased to be a pilgrimage with Christ to the Father. And that just, here he just touches upon the difference between spiritual direction and therapy or counseling or even pastoral counseling. Spiritual direction is really not a problem solving relationship, even though you might be able to solve some problems there, and neither is it a catechetical relationship, purely catechetical. There might be moments when you learn something about your faith or you get questions answered, but primarily it's this accompaniment, helping the people to deepen in the person to deepen in their relationships with the Lord, to continue on that pilgrimage to the house of the Father, right? And to continue growing as human beings, to really be able to attain that freedom as children of God, as St. Paul speaks about it.
And also, we do have a question that came in, anonymous. What kind of boundaries are there in spiritual direction relationship with someone? Are there any behaviors that are not allowed, like, for example, a male giving spiritual direction to a woman?
Well, the whole issue of boundaries, we really spend time during the course explaining that. But basically, we like to talk about boundaries from the place of identity. Like knowing who I am as a spiritual director, and recognizing the identity of the person as a directee, someone that's seeking help, that wants to be accompanied in their relationship with the Lord, right? It's a helping relationship. So the boundaries really are considered from that point of view, as well as, of course, the ethical boundaries. But we really like to build up those boundaries because we consider spiritual direction a sacred space. And so what do you bring as a spiritual director? And the way to respect boundaries is to be who you are, to keep in your role as a spiritual director, and to be aware of that, and always to respect the other person as an other person, and as someone who has their own autonomy, but that you're just trying to help, right? We don't, there's not, the church does not see a problem with men giving spiritual direction to women, women giving spiritual direction to men. What is really most important is that we learn what our place is in those activities, in the like in spiritual direction, and we stay in that place that belongs to us. And it's a joy to stay there. It doesn't feel like you're fenced in or anything. It's a joy to stay there because it's the service that you can offer to that person. And it's a way that you can help them. You can't decide what they're going to do. You can't tell them what to do, but you can help them so that they can hear the Lord better and grow deeper in their relationship with Him.
Thank you. That's a great question. Definitely, it's relevant. Definitely, some of the ethical concerns. I think Maria addressed them, and the church is very much for that. Those relationships. And there we are.
So sometimes, we're all called to mission as Jesus came and he sent us out, right? Just like all the apostles to mission, right? And each of us is called to a specific mission. We're all called to follow Christ and to bring the good news to all the different corners of the world, right? But we're also called to a particular mission, the way that we can do that in a particular way. And so, as spiritual directors, we try to accompany others as they find their mission and try to live that mission. So, hopefully, the relationship of spiritual direction helps the other person to follow Jesus. Not hopefully, that's what it's aimed at, right? And also, as I'm fulfilling my mission as a spiritual director, I'm also following Jesus there. Following Jesus is really at the focus here. And so you have two followers of Jesus coming together and learning from the other how to do this and be motivated and encouraged in your following of Jesus. So this is what we are trying to do to help the spiritual director is trying to help the directee in their following of Jesus.
I'm sorry, I went too ahead. And here's some of the breakdown of the program. And for those who recently joined us, there is a poll, and just going to look at one of the questions. Question number 2: is the SDC program a 1-year program? No, it is a 2-year program. So you see the 6 courses. There is a spring semester, a summer semester, and a fall semester. That's worth noting. So I just wanted to tie part of this into one of the poll questions. Maria, if you want to hit some of these bullet points or go over them briefly.
Yeah. So these are the outcomes here. These bullet points that are listed here are really the outcomes that we have for the program, what we're trying to accomplish. And we say to you that, by the time you finish the program, you'll hopefully, the program has been built so that you will be able to have these outcomes, right? And we do it through the 6 courses, an asynchronous format that allows you, even though you go through the course with other students and you're on the same module at the same time, you really can do your work whenever it fits within your week, as long as you respect the deadlines. And it's online with the 2 residencies that are here in Sterling, Virginia. It's a non-degree program. And so it won't give you a degree. It gives you a certificate of completion. But that certificate of completion you can bring it to different places, to your faith leaders, and it shows them that you've been trained as a spiritual director.
And your resume as well.
Yes, exactly. In your resume.
That's worth noting.
And it's also, we have permanent deacons in the program. We have some youth ministers that are trying to, learn spiritual direction so they can start accompanying college students. There's just a lot of different ways you can take this. Because the course itself is geared to helping someone to become a spiritual director, but there's a lot of things that you learn along the way about leading a faith community or leadership within a faith community and how to listen, and that are really great skills. So if you're involved already in a ministry, this would just help you even more.
Yeah, it's supplemental, and just to piggyback a little bit, it enhances your professional life. So don't be afraid after you go through the 2-year program to put this on your resume. You 2 years, you work hard, you earn the certificate of completion. Don't be intimidated by that. But first and foremost, it is a ministry, and there's just so many different ways you can branch out once you earn it.
Yes, exactly, Chris. Well, this is, how I had spoken about the sacred space of spiritual direction before. I had mentioned it. This is kind of like a breakdown of it, just to try to understand how it works, because that sacred space, we have the presence of the Holy Spirit, right? And everything is directed towards walking with the Lord and following Jesus and deepening that relationship with the Lord, right? But it's within a human relationship. So in the program, we really try to teach these people that want to become spiritual directors how to form a human relationship that's secure, that allows the person to have that space to open up their interior if they'd like to do that, that's trusting. And because of the nature of this relationship, a stable relationship can also be healing. The Lord can use it to heal people, right? So this just really results in that capacity for the directee to heal, to grow, and to flourish as a human person, which is really, this is what Divine Mercy University is all about. It's a graduate school to train counselors and therapists and psychologists to educate them, right? But all to help people flourish in all those aspects of the human person that is seen within the Catholic Christian tradition. So the spiritual direction element here, what we're trying to do with our students is what do you, a spiritual director, how does a spiritual director contribute to the human flourishing of those people that they are directing?
And here's some historical background. And we were founded, DMU was founded in 1999 as the Institute for the Psychological Sciences, IPS. And we do have an entirely online degree. If you look at 2014, the MSP, that's entirely online. That's a Master of Science in Psychology. So if you cannot attend the residencies, or if you're looking strictly for online and online only, that could be your program. You can still reach out to me and I could connect you with our MSP admissions advisor. And in 2015, we added the School of Counseling, and we also renamed ourselves. So within DMU now, we have two schools, the School of Counseling and then the IPS. We still call that other school the Institute for the Psychological Sciences. Forgive my voice. And in 2019, the Spiritual Direction Certificate was launched, the DMU. Maria, you mentioned it was in the works in 2016. So
yeah, 2016 is when we started designing it. It took a bit. I mean, it's a whole team that came together to create the curriculum for the course, and then a team for each course as we designed it. So just developing all those video pieces, gathering the readings, creating all the different learning activities took a time, and to be able to just upload that to Canvas and get the whole thing functioning. So it really took about, I think we started mid-year 2016, but it did take a bit.
It's also worth noting, 2015, we have a Master of Science in Counseling as well. So if you were in the School of Counseling, we have our MSc. And within the IPS, lastly, we do have a doctorate in clinical psychology. But the Spiritual Direction Certificate, we are the youngest program here at DMU.
Exactly.
And here are the 6 courses. Maria, you mentioned the residencies, and we do see here there's a 300 and a 500, 2 residencies in the entire 2-year program. And to go to another poll question real quick, the SDC program does not require a bachelor's degree. I believe, Maria, all you need is a high school diploma, correct?
Yeah, exactly. What you would need by law here in the United States, right? But
Yes.
but yeah, exactly. I mean, it is an academic program, so it does have a certain academic rigor to it. You do write some essays. We try not to make them be too long. I don't know if I could give you a word count off the top of, I think it's nothing more than 800 words, any essay that you have to write, but we do use APA style. We have a certain academic rigor to be able just to help the conversation of the whole class and have everyone communicating in a way that everyone else will understand. And we do expect you also to have a certain theological knowledge. So some of the people that come to the program before they apply, they say, oh, I want to, but I probably need to take a few courses. So they go to a St. Augustine's Institute online, or there's also an RC spirituality page that has a whole course on the spiritual life. And there are resources out there online that you could study something like that if you feel like, gosh, I probably need to know that a little bit more before I get into this program. Because we don't ask you to have a degree in theology, but we do expect you to have a good understanding of your Catholic faith. And a solid understanding of your Catholic faith or your Christian faith if you're coming from a Christian tradition. And if you're not a Christian or a Catholic, you could also come to the program just knowing that you're going to be learning about spiritual direction within the Catholic Christian tradition. And you'd have to kind of put yourself up to date on Catholic Christian theology also.
Absolutely. And yeah, there are current students who have associate's degrees. So it is worth noting you don't need a bachelor's degree. But everything that Maria said is true. And looking at this wheel here with the 6 courses, summer semester is our upcoming semester. Therefore, it would be SDC 100. That's where you start. And it's 1 course per semester. Fall semester comes up. And if you start in the summer, you would then be on SDC 200, Human Development for Spiritual Direction. So that's how the course wheel works at DMU.
Yeah, Chris. And also we should mention that every course is 8 weeks long. It's not the traditional 16-week semester. It's an 8-week course. So it does allow you time. Like the courses run from August through the end of October, from January through the end of March, and from mid-May through mid-July. So it gives you time to have your life and do other things, because we know that everyone does have other things to do. I always tell people we understand that our students have a full-time other that they're doing.
Yes. I like to say the program is designed for working adults. But of course, if you're semi-retired, retired, of course, but it is flexible, and that's how that the 2-year program is designed. There is a question here. Can you start the SDC 100 in the fall? Yes. If summer is not possible because of a vacation or a scheduling conflict or what have you, yes, we have rolling admissions essentially. So each semester we have an SDC 100 starting. So that is a great question.
We offer every course every semester. So
you would have to start at 100 in the fall. So you would apply, you would contact me, we'd go through the admissions process together. I'm here to help you. That's a great question. And here are some testimonials.
Yeah, Chris, why don't you go through those? Those are beautiful. From Monica and Jeff.
So Jeff Garrett, and are both alumni, both are graduates? They're not
both are graduates.
Yeah, so with Jeff, I have learned quite a bit so far. I have been exposed to some excellent resources that will help me in my own spiritual direction and in giving spiritual direction to others. I have a greater foundation in growing my relationship with God. I have also been able to meet other students virtually and learn from them during our online conversations and Zoom sessions. So I think the technology, we were very connected. The program is almost entirely online. Simultaneously, it's not overbearing. I've heard no complaints from students in the technology realm. Canvas is our online learning management system, the LMS, and very user-friendly. Submitting assignments, you go through Canvas. And we also use Zoom when you meet with professors, if you ever would like to schedule a professor meeting, and also communicating with students. The conversations are plentiful. And Monique, the resources, both reading and video, offer great depth of thought in the given topic, and I enjoy the resources immensely. My favorite part of the modules is the discussions. It's in the discussions that the students get to know each other and gather perspectives other than our own. The student discussions are of the highest caliber with lots of personal experience and knowledge shared. I've gained so much wisdom from my fellow students. And I think going off that, we have the 2 residencies when you meet in person. So I think it's very fruitful to put a face to a name. And the residencies are a lot of fellowship, a lot of bonding, and you learn so much from your fellow students. But also the online discussions, you're going through the program together as a cohort. So it's very fruitful.
Yeah, Chris. And, there are the graduates, there's a lot of graduates that keep in touch after they graduate. And as they going out and doing this ministry of spiritual direction, they form small groups. They keep in touch and encourage each other. But yeah, they have peer supervision groups that they're doing. They pass around resources. It just, you build a community from the moment you're in the program, and it just continues after too.
And if you're looking for a spiritual director, it's worth noting some of our alumni. If you go on our website, do some exploring, and I can help you with that. Some of our alumni are spiritual directors, and they're willing to meet with you if you don't have a spiritual director, if you're actively looking. So we'll proceed. My contact information is on a later slide. And here are some frequently asked questions. Who can apply to this program? Anyone. I think Maria touched on this a slide or two ago, and just having a desire to help others spiritually develop in their relationship with God. And also there is number 3, the ability to undertake this course, the 2-year program. So it's a system we have here. And also number 4, which is very important. I don't know if we mentioned the specific hours. It's about 6 to 9 or 7 to 10 hours of work per week.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 8 weeks, yes, like Maria mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Also, you know what that I'm seeing, Chris? Also, we ask everyone that comes to the program to have been in spiritual direction, to have a history of frequent spiritual direction, because we feel like you can't really know if you're called to be a spiritual director if you haven't received spiritual direction and had that experience yourself. So we are looking that you do have a spiritual director and that you have a history of frequent spiritual direction.
That is a prerequisite. And here are the cost. The second question. Each course is $750. Each residency is $1,000. Though each residency is $1,000, so $1,000 for SDC 300, $1,000 for SDC 500. That includes lodging and food. That's worth noting. So we are by Dulles International Airport. You would just have to pay to arrive, to get here to Dulles, for example. But the lodging and food is covered. Each residency is 4 days in length. So we cover that. That's included in that number. If you add all these numbers up, 750 times 6, 1,000 times 2, you get to $6,500, and it's a pay-as-you-go program. So you pay semester by semester. And 6 to 9 hours, like I said, that's the magic number, the average of hours per week. That's how much time you would put in for the coursework. This includes videos, readings, writing discussions, any papers, and other assignments. And we have a question. If you live here in Northern Virginia, do you pay the $1,000 for the residency? So I guess if you're local.
We do, we go case by case, but we do really suggest highly that you do stay at the hotel here because of the fact that it's so intense, and we don't want you. We've had some students in the past that have lived close, but they've just been exhausted with going back and forth because you got to be here early in the morning and then you leave a little later. I mean, it's not too late at night, but and also a lot of, just to be able to spend time with the other students. So it's not that we require you to stay at the hotel, but we really do highly suggest it. And most of the people do that because even if they've stayed at their house, they learn pretty quickly that, oh yeah, just so that you can set aside the time too, and just be focused on this and not be dividing your time between all those other responsibilities. It's a good excuse to get away.
Yeah, that's a good question. And also the hotel is 0.25 miles away from campus. So
Exactly.
you don't have to deal with any traffic whatsoever. We actually have some
Exactly.
trees to walk. Like there is
Yeah,
a
I mean,
road.
everyone walks pretty much. I mean, there is
Yeah,
a shuttle that the hotel can bring people over, but pretty much everyone walks. And Dallas is, I mean, I think 6 minutes from here. So we
yes.
really try to make it in such a way that you're not spending extra money on transportation.
Yes, great question. And no financial aid currently that's available. It is a certificate. Like I said, it's pay as you go. Sometimes that question comes up in the admissions process. And here's some dates. Our upcoming semester is summer 2022. Wednesday, May 18th is when class starts. That would be SDC 100. And the deadline is May 4th. I believe that's also a Wednesday, so 2 weeks before. And if you have any questions, that is my direct number. So there's no extension there. You can call me, text me at that number, leave a voicemail if I don't pick up. And that is my email address. Also, it's worth noting if you're interested in another program or if you know someone might be interested in MSP, you can call me as well, and I can coordinate with my colleagues, and we can arrange a meeting that way. But that link there is to the certificate page. Like I said, if you did divinemercy.edu, that takes you to the homepage. And Maria, do you have any closing thoughts or
Well,
comments or anything else?
Chris, I did want to get a plug for the summer semester because sometimes, we think, no, it's the summer and I really can't fit anything in. But this certificate's it's 8 weeks only, and it starts mid-May, and you really are done by I think it starts May 18th. So it takes 2 weeks of May, it takes the 4 weeks of June, and then it takes 2 weeks of July, right?
4th
And
of July, by that point, you're almost done.
yeah, and we really try not to have deadlines on the weekends and things like that. And you can always work with your instructor if you're going away for that weekend to hand something in late. But it's a good opportunity. Sometimes we think we can't do it in the summer. But if you've got a freer summer, or you're thinking you've got a little bit freer summer, it's a good way to get a course in. When things are a little bit lighter, and also it'll give you an opportunity to maybe go through the reading in a little bit more leisurely fashion.
And if you do start in the summer, please call me, and I have the residency dates. So if you're a planner, you're really thinking about the summer, I can give you the residency dates, and we can map that out in the future. So you would have the dates of the SDC 300 residency and SDC 500 residency. Those would both be in 2023 if you started in the summer. So it's a ways away as well. You have some time to financially plan. And let me look at this final poll question. That was an easier one. Is the SDC program rooted in the Catholic tradition? Yes, it is. I'm looking here at the results. Thank you for those who voted. And if there are any other questions, I don't see any. Maria, any closing thoughts or?
No, just to thank everyone that was here tonight with us. We hope that this has been, that's been worth your while and your time. We always have all of the people that are interested in our university, that we come across their path in one way or another. We always bring them to prayer as well as our students and our alumni. So count on our prayers.
Of course. Thank you, Maria. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for those who are here. Of course, you're welcome, Kent. We try, but yes, contact me. Like I said, any questions about summer, fall, or spring, and this will be on YouTube, hopefully sometime next week. And you are very welcome. Everyone have a peaceful evening. Thank you, Maria.
God bless you. Thanks, Chris.